Let's go talk about the guns we're working with here. This is a Model 64, 38 Special, 64-5 NY-1 NYPD gun. It is empty, as you can see, hopefully. This is just somewhat unique of a gun. It does have holster wear. It was an active issue gun. My guess is the person that bought it originally, that had it before me, sold it for next to nothing when NYPD went to Glocks back in, I think it was 93 or 95. 95, they started issuing semi-autos to officers that wanted them. Glocks, the 5946, and eventually the SIG P226 DAO, which is a really strange gun for what it is, not to be accused of double action Kellerman. Anyhow, this has the bobbed hammer, and you cannot cock the hammer. I'm not going to demonstrate to cock it, because you can't cock it. So that's empty. Then we have a pawn shop find. This I re-blued the best I could, and I hurt my nail doing it, because I didn't wear the appropriate gloves, because I'm an idiot. Mechanics gloves do not work for bluing. I'm a nurse, and I didn't have any rubber gloves, or as you'd call medical gloves. This I date at about 1967. It's been re-blued by me. It looked worse before. It's a grandpa gun. My guess is it was somebody's nightstand gun. Might even be an ex-police officer gun for all I know, for off-duty carry. Because typically in the South, people carry cheap guns. You don't see many SIGs and holsters open carry. Probably the only brand name gun you'll see that everybody would know down here, people open carry, would be a Glock. Anyhow, this 6-shot stub nose, 400 bucks I got it for. Grandpa gun. Something like this, even in this condition at the stupid gun show, would go for probably stupid money. So yes, I'm pointing my guns at the camera, but they're empty, and I apologize. We're gonna play them this way. Then for proper discussion usage, we have this, I don't know how to show that's empty. It's an airsoft SIG P226, because we're double action, single action, and revolver here. So, now I'm gonna try to minimize my hand movements because I'm Italian and a little bit of ADD. So first we're gonna talk about police type revolver holsters. And my video skills aren't the best. They're a cross between probably the old 1911 and a guy named Old 64 Goat, which he's a cool electronics older guy. And if you're about in the 40s and you're my age and you grew up with your grandfather working on stuff, he reminds you a lot of him. So the editing here is not going to be the best. You might not be able to see me. The main goal is not to go like this so you can't see things. All right. So we're going to be talking about revolver holster options, mainly for the 4-inch K-frame or medium frame revolver, and a little bit about the 4-inch, the K-frame stub nose or medium frame revolver. We'll go to more details about each gun a little bit. This one we'll talk a little bit more about. I'm not going to really talk about the J-frame because I do have one. It's on me right now. But the J-frame stub nose revolver, there's many videos on that, and there's many holster options for that choice. We're also going to talk about speed loaders and ways to carry them. Not how to reload, but just general ideas that I found that have worked for me. We're going to talk a little bit about this type of thing here, and inside the waistband and foamy clips, how I don't like them. We're going to talk about modern options for your revolver. But I'm going to start off with OWB holsters. And mainly what we're leaning towards is the bobbed revolver. And the reason why my revolver hammers are bobbed because they came like this. In the 70s and 60s and 80s, police officers started to be trained double action only, which means it's empty, just a hard pull, that's it. No cocking of the hammer, none of that. So what police officers would do, especially in the movies, they'd cock their hammer back and say, "You don't move, don't move, don't move, Mr. Tree over there. They didn't like that for two reasons. One, it really was intimidating, and I'm, somewhat police brutality. I'm gonna move my leg here. And two, when you bring a hammer down, I'm not gonna really demonstrate that here. There's other videos that do that, but the hammer, if you don't decock the revolver safely, this hammer, which they're all frame mounted firing pins, but it's the same thing with, hammer mounted firing pin. I like that because it's vintage. The hammer will fall, go right through here and hit the bullet, if there's a bullet in the charging hole, or the cylinder hole, whatever you want to call it. And that was just unsafe. And Lucky Gunner did a video about this. For the most part, the gun is your emergency tool when you're a police officer. The hammer is designed more for target shooting, maybe hunting if that's what you're into with revolvers, the larger revolvers like the 500 Magnum. Talking the hammer really isn't something that police officers have been trained to do, probably since the 1960s at least. There's a whole series of videos about that. Lucky Gunner talks about that, and a man named, I think, Gumblue something. If you were into revolvers, you've seen his videos. He's a very nice gentleman, has a Boston accent like I do. He lives in New Hampshire. Reminds me a lot of my grandfather. A lot of my grandfather. So they talk more about revolver history and different models and what to do and different details and everything. They're considered like the PhD of this type of thing. We're basically giving you a Saturday community college rundown one-day course, if you want to even call it that. So, police officers would carry their weapons in holsters, like OWB. So, I'm going to use this gun because it's a little bit lighter. It's the same size as the K-frame. This gun is a Model 10-5 snub nose Model 10. It's the snub nose version of this gun in all essence. It was found at a pawn shop for about $400. I reblued the gun, if I already mentioned that. I bobbed the hammer. Various marks of holster wear on this gun. Anyhow, so the police officer would put the gun in the holster and then pretend there's a hammer here. They put it over like this so the bullets wouldn't move. The hammer wouldn't move. It'd be very difficult to fire this with the strap properly. And usually the holster was out like this, which is called the Bill Jordan carry. And cops back in the day would draw like this. Hand on the trigger, ready to go. For obvious reasons, that's not done anymore. And a lot of those open holsters like this went away by the 80s. And with the strap properly, you could not, I'm gonna use other fingers, pretend this is strapped to here, would not fire, be locked in. And the barrel would be so tight in the holster would be hugging the barrel and mainly the cylinder, so the gun couldn't fire. So you have some natural retention there. These are like the most common type of holsters you'd see, with the exception of New York City Police Department, which had the JP style holster, which I'm gonna try to put a picture of it in here. I'm gonna find out how to do that. It had a metal band on it, and you had to rock it to get it out. I had one of those originally when I bought this gun, but I was left-handed and I'm right-handed. So there also was another holster. You can Google this one or look it up. It's called a clamshell holster. It would snap open like a shell, like a clam, like this, snap open, and the gun would come out, and you have your finger on the trigger. They moved away from all that. So what we're going to talk about is the holster that kind of, got us to where we are today somewhat. So there's other companies that came out with these. This is a Safariland 275. Eventually, it morphed into an 070 style thumb brake holster for revolvers, which I found some examples, but the retention, of course, is different of a revolver than a semi-auto. This holster here was called a breakaway holster. Breakaway. So the idea behind that was you got rid of the strap, okay, and you were able to, instead of having it like this, you were able to protect the trigger, because realistically, you know, it's not safe to draw like this, and crap gets in, dirt and grime gets in your gun, especially if you're a police officer, which I am not. Anytime you have a gun out openly like that, it's going to be grime in it and dirty, and that's why people should check their equipment. Anyhow, it goes into here like this. You got a thumb strap. This ain't moving. You can't get this out. So the idea behind it was, originally, it was a breakaway. So it comes up like this. You pull the thumb strap out, and then see how it kind of comes out like that? See how it's bending out like that? Now the gun's ready to go. And then you drop it back in. You have some retention if you're handcuffing a suspect or dealing with something, and you put it back together. You may still see some of these holsters in use in the armored car companies. Some older guys prefer revolvers. Some armored car companies issue revolvers in lieu of Glocks. Or Glocks, or people don't want to carry a Glock, or if you're too cheap to buy a gun. 6 shots and all that, that's a different discussion. We're not talking about that here. My choice is to carry a revolver, even though I carry a modern semi-auto when I'm not working during the week. I'm out doing errands typically because it's so small and so light. And I don't really... the J-frames too, it's a smaller gun. It's kind of harder to deal with. You know, so this I got off eBay right before COVID or during COVID. I think I got it from an old ham radio buddy. But this gun, this holster is all enclosed. The butt of the gun's covered. Originally, it came with this. So this here, it even has the old Safariland logo on it. It's the Police 6 S&W 10 model 2752, which originally became a 275, which eventually became somewhat of a more modern idea holster. Eventually, all the stuff, ideas from this holster, all that stuff was morphed. On chips, they use a Bianchi 27K type holster with the strap that goes around more this way. Eventually, it became a thumb brake. The thumb brake idea came along probably in the mid-'80s, which really was the go-to thing until more modern holsters came along, which, for example, in our discussion, I'm gonna take the sponges out of here. That's a different video we're gonna do. This is a modern Safariland holster, for example. All Kydex, all plastic. Only difference between this and the level 3 is that, well, apparently better plastic, and it has a hood and a secondary coverage on it. Anyhow, this doesn't all click all the way in here because it's a fake gun. And you only want to stick out that far. But this is what they have now mostly on the police department. Something similar to this. You can look up level 3 and all that if you're interested in it. So I got this off eBay, like I said, and it came with this originally, which would go on a duty belt. Now, I don't wear duty belts. I have no interest in wearing duty belts. I'm not going to play dress-up Comic-Con, you know, or anything like that. So this is like a metal shank leather thing, and this would stay on the duty belt, and it would stay on pretty firmly. I then got this holster here on Relayed. It's a basket weave, and it's for the SIG. And this would be kind of like what a level 3 would be like, except it would have the Safariland type. It would have 2 releases, this and this. Anyhow, I got this, and it came with this here. Now this is a modern mid-ride belt adapter. This is probably what you'll see on most police officers' belts that use Safariland holsters. And let's hope that they do. I mean, I'm a strong believer in Safariland. I'm biased and I'm pro Safariland. I don't believe in thigh carry unless you're carrying a ton of gear with you or in the military. Like, you know, come on. But this thing here molds to your body. See on my hand? It's kind of molding to my hand there. It molds to your body very comfortably. And it takes the weight off. Well, this gun's not that heavy, you know. It allows some protection. It's not your typical smaller style holster. And it's compatible with the screws and everything. It works. So one could get a Safariland, maybe even an 070 leather type retention holster, which if you're a police officer or you're around in the 2000s, that was the go-to leather retention holster. Level 3 or level 2 before these came along. These variants came along. So I was able to screw that in. So for about 50 bucks. I got myself a quality holster that has open carry, and I can put it underneath my jacket, and you know, it's good for around the yard, when you're out around the yard or at the range or something. I don't always open carry, but you got a lot of protection from the elements from your gun, and there's no chance you're gonna lose it. And it's not that bad, it's not that bulky. With this, it was ridiculous. It was like I was Barney Fife walking around with a swivel holster. So let's talk about some other stuff here. We got this one here from Safariland. I'm going to do a separate video about Amazon Safariland. So this here has two options. It has, I think originally it came with something like this type of belt loop here. But I bought a paddle off something, or I took it from something. And it's a paddle holster now. It's for the 4-inch K-frame. And I'm just gonna show you here. That's really tight to do by hand. It doesn't have any retention or any retention device on it. But with these Bob hammer holsters, you can't rely on the hammer strap like the traditional holsters like you see on most TV shows do. You got some good retention there, you know, not going to be pulled out. It's not going anywhere. It's about 40 bucks. You could buy it on Amazon right now. And it's pretty nice for what it is. It kind of reminds me of a cross between this and a non-retention. And I think there might even be Kydex in here, underneath here, but it's pretty nice. This holster I use sometimes when I'm driving. I'll probably take it on my trip with me because it's so comfortable in the car, along with this one here. And it's a little bit less bulky. You can put it underneath a jacket or something. And you can take it off if you have to secure your weapon legally in your vehicle. Then I have this holster here. It's called a Vitamin X. It's a German company. And this I do use occasionally. Usually when I travel to gun legal states, I usually bring all three of these, and this one here, which we'll talk about in a minute, it has a strap on it. It used to be on Amazon, believe it or not, but not anymore. I don't know what happened to it. But if you're looking at one of these holsters for your K-frame, and you got the bobbed hammer, this is the way to go if it secures like this. There's a Turkish company that makes a lot of holsters for revolvers for some reason. They're not that bad. I have no experience dealing with them. But it's no longer available on Amazon, but you get some protection. It's not so much from a grab, just so stuff doesn't fall off your belt. Let's see, what else we got here? Then we have, this is for the Snub. This is a Dawn Hume something. 2.5-inch barrel, HT721. Still available on their website. It's new, actually. It fits this small snub nose very well. The other thing, too, is if you're looking for a snub nose K-frame holster, be very careful on eBay or Amazon or whatever. It's going to try to direct you to J-frame, which is a different size handgun. And be careful of the pictures, too. It may show a model 36, which basically is a J-frame with an external hammer. It's not going to, be a good day when you get that and it won't fit your gun. Because you can't wedge this into a J-frame holster. It just doesn't work. Maybe another one you could, but it'll be sticking out abnormally and you risk it falling out. Then we have, what else do we have here? We'll take a quick break and we'll talk about speed loaders. So those speed loaders, what you use to reload your gun, is it SKS or HKS? I forgot. Anyhow, if you know about revolvers, you know what these are. This here is the Dawn Hume Pack 6 #1. They still make these. This can sign your belt regularly or pretend this is your belt. The belt will sit on the bullets like this, and it will, I went too high for the camera there, sit like that, ready to go nice and quiet. Something to avoid and to consider. Old police duty pouches. that are for speed loader holders, the 2 double pouches that you see a lot on cop TV shows. They are too bulky, even if they're newer like nylon. They are too bulky for concealed carry, or even open carry. They're too bulky. It's like carrying a bottle of pills in your front pocket. And realistically, all you really need is one. Make sure you can have more, but your belt gets heavy. Then we're gonna talk about speed strips. These used to go in dump pouches, supposedly. A lot of dump pouches back in the day. It's quite simple how they work. You can look at the video if you want to see that. Bianca, of course, which started a lot of Revolver stuff and made a lot of holsters, competing against Safariland. This is some type of tough thing. It's generically from Amazon. You could get a leather pouch for this if you want to look good, but they're expensive leather pouches for that. You know? This was about 40 bucks. I got it because there's nothing like it. Also, you know, you could put 2 in here. I usually have 1. But it's good about speed strips. You can put them anywhere in your pocket or whatever. Good for J-frame carry. I carry both, believe it or not. Of course, I got some stains on here for me, just general eating crap, I guess. I might wash that at some point. The other thing to avoid with these, police dump pouches or the B-61 S&W Air Force type pouches, you could carry those on your belt, sure. They might conceal a little better than the speed loaders, I'm not sure. But keep in mind, those are for duty use, so they're going to be bulky. And it might be new old stock, it might be cheap other. I don't have any experience with those. Now we're going to talk about inside the waistband. Now for our discussion point, we're going to talk about clips real quick, not in gun sense. First kind of clip you got for holsters, the traditional metal clip, which this actually works very well for belt use and everything else. For scrubs and sweatpants and basketball shorts, not so much. Then you got this thing, okay? This is called a foamy clip. I guess when it came out, it was all right, but these are awful. Do not use these. Get rid of these as soon as you can. The plastic doesn't hook on the belt right in some cases. It is absolutely useless to carry in scrubs or in sweatpants or in shorts, and I do not carry any firearms when I'm working as a healthcare professional or any workplace or any place where it's not legal, to make myself clear. I'm serious about that. I do not. Those who know me know I don't. These are awful. These are awful. Just don't, they can't have a better, I think at the time when these came out, this was a good solution. You know, you could just mold them, buy them by the box, you're making holsters. No, I'm gonna throw this junk. So then came along something called, I think they're called DCC clips or something. They're not stamped or anything. You can look them up. Utila clips or DCC clips. Utila clips is a different brand that makes these, similar idea. This is what you want on a holster that's inside the waistband, no matter what kind of gun it is. This is an inside the waistband holster for the SIG P365, which is not shown. It's my modern carry. Yes, I own a modern handgun. The SIG P365 is a very good option for people who don't want to buy 100 guns. So these, I think they're called DCC clips. Pretty sure they are. There's a company that makes them. You can Google them, metal DCC clips. And you know, these things are awesome. They'll clip to your belt. They'll clip to scrubs. They'll clip to basketball shorts, sweatpants, hell, even your underwear. For a light, small gun. I wouldn't try it with a heavy revolver. You could probably get away with a J-frame using these. Most holster companies make an option with these now. These are what you want to get if you're going inside the waistband with a single holster like this. That's Kydex. Hell, even if they have it for an option for leathers, I don't think they do. You probably want to get one of those. What else we're going to say here? Oh, I had something to show about the J-frame holster. This is a We the People holster. I mean, for what it is, it's not bad. But compared to this Kydex, I'm no Kydex expert. This Kydex is from a local company called 508 Holsters back in Massachusetts. I've had this holster for, oh my God, it's 4 years since EDC, and it's perfectly fine. They feel kind of, I don't know. It's an okay holster, but I don't offer DCC clips, so I cut one and I modified it. Don't do things like this. It was initially made so I could carry my J-frame in like sweatpants, pajama pants, but this keeps coming on and everything, and these only work with the foamy clips. So remember, if you're gonna get something small, try to get those clips I just talked about. So this is junk too. I might even throw that out. Then we have the K-frame IWB holster from Alien Gear, which, believe it or not, is fairly comfortable, but for me, I'm not really a big IWB guy. I just don't like it. I only really would carry in Massachusetts deeply concealed because I was afraid that I get spotted and I lose my permit. Down here, I don't print horribly. I really don't carry ridiculous guns with me. I don't carry my SIG P226, which I have a real one, by the way. This is for example. I don't carry this. Butt of the gun's too big. It's in the way. But I do carry the full-size revolver and this sometimes, not at the same time. The problem is that printing is a problem. You don't want to be printing so much where people go gun. But down here, let's face it nowadays, most people have crap on their belt, cell phones, tools, whatever. They're not going to notice, and I don't print that badly. I'm not that worried about it down here, because if my shirt gets lifted up or something, nobody's going to care. I'd still rarely open carry though outside of the property. It's just I don't really do it that often. But I'm covered though if my going or like shirt were to come up. Now some of the laws have changed with that. I'm not going to go into laws. Apparently, the Bruin decision or something, it's okay to do that. I don't know. I'm not going to deal. I don't know how true it is. Either way, you don't want the police coming after you. So this holster here is okay. The only recommendation I would do is, for me, it's okay for IWB. Particularly though, I just don't. It's not needed. The gun's not that heavy, but it's a nice gesture they made this. It is a good holster. It doesn't work as well for me, but it may work well for you. The only thing I would do is I offer metal clips. And they might even offer the clips I was talking about a minute ago with this here. They might even offer that now. But anyhow, I want to get the plastic clips with this. They're okay for a belt. They're fine for a belt, but I still want to. They're good clips. I don't mind them. They're very good. They're very, not to make use of the foamy clips, but for $10 more or whatever, $5 more, you get something like this or metal clips. Now, what do I use for IWB? Believe it or not, I went to a vehicle show. I'm going to be going to another show, and I want people to carry one of my revolvers. So I carried this J-frame, this big revolver all day. First, I went around the house with this. It just wasn't comfortable. And I went around with this, and I could adjust it. And believe it or not, I used the full frame here. It wasn't that bad. This is super comfortable. But you want to use a belt, okay? A belt that holds it. Now, I didn't talk about this company here. This company here is Azula Gun Holsters, South Africa, but they have an office in South Carolina. They make, I mean, if you want a simple clip IWB holster for your revolver, or even some of your older semi-autos or whatever, it's not too bad. I mean, it stays open, you know, it's not like a fixed thing like foam, like Kydex is, but it does the job, and they have some pretty good stuff. But hopefully you learned something. The main takeaway from this video is don't discount these type of Safariland holsters. I'm not sure if it'll work with other brands, but the main thing is it has to have these 3 type of screws in the back, or so you can kind of convert it over so you can make it more modern on your belt for open carry, or maybe even wintertime carry. You can cover this up with a shirt. It's gonna be kind of obvious so you have something, but that wasn't the intent when they made this. But older duty holsters, also check your gun show. Sometimes you get lucky with what you can find there. I haven't yet, at least on the revolver side, besides cheap stuff. And let's go over a couple companies here. So Don Hume, really, I mean, if you need a holster, look at that. I had to break it in. It fits this great. Only about $60 too, because let's face it, we're not, I mean, this is a weapon I'm probably gonna bring on my trip where I could legally carry in all the states I'm going to. Well, why a revolver? Because I like revolvers, okay? And if I have to unload it safely or secure it, I could do it a little safer than, you know, I could do it quicker than pulling back on this in my car or unloading it somewhere. You know, I don't want to scare people. I don't want to end up on the ground. The police. We talked about the Zula holster. We talked about Vitamax is what it's called, or Vitamax. I haven't been able to find these on Amazon lately. We talked about the speed loaders. And another thing too is, I forgot to mention one thing. These are available under Universal Big Ride adapter on Amazon for 15 bucks, $10 less than they are. It's basically the same piece of plastic as far as I can tell. There'll be a video coming up where I actually try to do one live, not live, but you know, open box opening an older vintage holster for the 6946. These paddles you can buy separately. You might be able to find a knockoff of these. I don't know, I haven't seen them. I haven't really tried looking for them. But you can see it like 10 bucks. It's a piece of plastic. I mean, you know, kind of like everything's made in China. You know, it just doesn't say the name on it. That's it. Let's see, a couple channels you should definitely look into. I think I talked to them about it already. Old 1911, I forgot to mention. He's a good one. And any like videos, a bunch of videos about this stuff. Videos about the Model 10. This is also all the Model 64 stainless steel. This bunch of information about this. And of course, don't forget your old school DASAs if you're a younger guy or younger woman. I mean, don't forget those. You know, these, I mean, this is a fake airsoft one. I don't feel like bringing out my other one because it's the bedside gun. I mean, these are expensive though. We'll talk about those in another video. I can go on about that for like an hour. But anyhow, I hope this video came out okay. I apologize for any random hand movements. I try to control my hands. Anyhow, any questions, comments, let me know. This is a topic that's not talked about that much anymore. And it's scattered throughout the internet on various forums and bits and pieces. I'm just putting together what I know. While I may be incorrect about some things, it's just a good source of information. Just enough to kind of give you an idea. And another thing too is revolver prices, you know, you're not going to be able to touch one of these for under $400. More than likely you're going to spend more. Pawn shops are the place to go if they're legal and you're sick to sell guns, because revolvers, I didn't realize this, but I read it on Reddit. Revolvers don't move as fast in pawn shops allegedly, especially grandpa guns like this. I mean, this thing needed a whole new, I had to re-blue it. Like I said, not the best, but better than it was. I had to clean the grips, I had to clean grime out of it. They're not as popular. They're not popular at all. You know, and this would be the typical gun you see a detective carrier. This would be complement this for off-duty usage. You know, it's better than a J-frame, and you got compatibility with your speed loaders and even some of your holsters. I mean, if you're a cop and you say, oh, you know what, I don't want to, I got to go home, but shoots. I have the big gun at work, but I got my off-duty gun. You know, I got to go direct traffic somewhere. You can drop the K-frame right in. This K-frame right into here. It looks kind of cool, but drop it right in. It'll work with most, of course you got the barrel, you know, sticking out like that, but you know, the compatibility, I mean, it's, you know, ushered in now if we have the smaller guns like the SIG P365 and 320. I mean, you got a whole package, or your baby Glocks and your big Glocks. Anyhow, that's all we're going to talk about for now, and I apologize for any weird things I might have done during the video.